What's up, everybody? It's your boy Brandon Blakeney, aka Brandon Lee TV. Welcome back to the Live with Brandon Blakeney podcast. You know I got another banger for you, so kick back, relax, and come take a ride with your boy. Now, we know South Carolina went undefeated and won the championship this year. It's never too early to look ahead to next season, though. Staley has another loaded group. They returned just about everybody but Camila Cardoso from their undefeated national championship team. But I want to look at 5 players who I think could break out. And when I say break out, I mean have an even better season than this season. Have an expanded role, having extended minutes, and with that happening, we're expecting a ramp up in production. So there's 5 players I want to look at that we're all very familiar with who I think could take on a bigger role and put up even more production next season. But before we get into all of that, make sure y'all hit that subscribe button for all the latest and the greatest. And join our memberships. We got that exclusive content coming daily, weekly, whenever you need it. Now, let's get into it.
You are now locked into the Live with Brandon Blakeney podcast. Here is your host, Brandon Blakeney.
So the first player on the list I want to talk about is freshman who will be a sophomore next season, Malaysia Fulwiley, arguably the most explosive, the most exciting and electrifying player in women's college hoops, especially coming back next season. She was second on the team in scoring. She was 4th in assists. And I honestly am expecting major strides. Because at times what we saw, man, is she was too good to keep off the floor. She didn't even average 20 minutes per game last season and still was top 5 in 2 major stats for this group. Malaysia Fulwiley is going to be impossible to keep off the floor. And I think maybe her role shift. Now, the thing that's kind of working against her, I know, is the fact that they bring back Pow, they bring back Raven Johnson, they bring back Bree Hall, and holy heck, the emergence of Tessa Johnson. Minutes in the backcourt are going to be scarce, but I just think she has the most upside. She's going to be the most productive player returning to this team, and there's just no way that you can keep her off the floor in crucial moments. And I misspoke. Fulwiley was actually 3rd on this team in assists. She averaged 11.7 points per game, 2.9 rebounds, and 2.2 assists with 1.7 steals. She's a ball hog. Now, we know the defense was kind of slacking a little bit at the beginning of last year, and it cost her some playing time. But she got her act together and absolutely started locking up. And we know Dawn Staley has called her a generational talent. She's let her play through mistakes, growing pains, but she's proven to be an instant spark off the bench. Could she crack into this starting lineup? I know you don't want to mess with the chemistry too much and how things work. And we've also seen with South Carolina, just because you aren't in that starting 5 doesn't mean you're not going to play starter minutes. This is a very good problem to have, but I think Fulwiley has the chance to be a National Player of the Year type of talent, man. I mean, just the way that she understands the game already. She's quick in space. She's crafty with the basketball. You cannot stay in front of her. She's a blur off the dribble. That first step is devastating. She can shoot the 3. She can get her shot off the dribble. She can play off ball. She's proven to be just a dynamic on-ball defender, man. She's a pest. She's out there pressuring guards. Y'all remember what she did to Deja Kelly? Oh my gosh. I'm just telling you right now, I just don't think you can keep her off of the court for long, man. She's just got so much upside, and we're just scratching the surface. And I know people are saying she may have to wait another year for her turn because, you know, that next season when Pow's out of the way, depending on what Raven Johnson does, like, I get it. Like, it could be very interesting. Depending on what Bree Hall does as well. Like, the keys will be handed to Fulwiley, but I think there's a chance that it could be as early as next year. Now, I know Raven Johnson's coming back, and she has been the lead assist, lead playmaker for this group, and I don't expect that to change. But Fulwiley's just offering up a whole different type of skill set that no guard in this backcourt possesses. Speaking of not being able to keep them off the floor, Ashlyn Watkins, maybe the most athletic player in the nation, has continued to improve both seasons that she has been at South Carolina. And last season, we just saw, one, how dynamic of a defender she is, blocking shots, using that length, that mobility to get up and down the floor, to guard multiple positions. But we also saw her secret weapon, her scoring, take another leap forward, man. She almost doubled her output from last season. She's finishing with both hands strong around the cup, using that length, and she's hitting the mid-range jumper as well, which was a really good sign. Watkins, the 6'3 sophomore out of South Carolina, averaged 9.2 points and 7.4 rebounds. She basically almost doubled her scoring and her rebounding from last season. Also averaged a 1.1 assist and went up on blocks from 0.8 to 2.4 and steals 1.3 from 0.7. And, I mean, you look at it, playing time doubled as well. She got 10 more minutes per game. And if you're talking about just per 20 minutes, per 30 minutes, however you want to do it, she is as productive as any player in the nation, man. A true game changer, stat sheet stuffer. And I think she could be a dominant force on both sides of the basketball. She is positioned right now to maybe be that next great post player for South Carolina. I think she's an instant impact X factor, and they won a lot of games, especially when she stepped in for Camila Cardoso. But the front court is crowded. Khloe Kitts is another player I think it could break out and be on this list as well. We saw her start majority of the games, but there were times where, you know, her minutes were cut, and Ashlyn Watkins got some of those minutes, depending on who was the hot hand. Khloe Kitts brings a different skill set. She's finesse. She can get it off the dribble. She's got more perimeter skills. She can stretch the floor, hit the three. I'm hearing she's putting on muscle. She's been working on the handle even more. Just her ability to just get that steam, that full head of steam, get downhill and attack the paint. She's got a really good skill set, man, that no other big really has in her position right now for South Carolina, being able to stretch the floor and play inside out. She's really, really pesky, really aggressive, scrappy on the boards. She's putting on weight. Like, we know she's got a slim frame. She's putting on weight, getting stronger, and it seems like that's the focus for her, and also improving those ball skills. Khloe Kitts could absolutely be a breakout player for this team, and I wouldn't be shocked if she led this team in scoring next season. Kitts, the 6'2 sophomore out of Florida, averaged 9.1 points per game, 5.9 rebounds, and 1.4 assists, shooting over 54% from the field. Her playing time saw a significant increase as well, going from 6.9 minutes per game to 18.6, and she had some games in the NCAA tournament, especially her three-point shooting 50% from the three. There's no other big for South Carolina that's doing that, and that alone kind of makes it very difficult to keep her off the floor. I think she opens things up, and that's what really separates her, and I think that's why she could be a breakout player. We could really see the offense maybe shift more to leaning on her to be more of a focal point next season. She's a scrappy defender as well. She took on some of the toughest matchups in the paint, guarding Rakia Jackson, matching up against Nisa Morrow as well. Like, she played tough. She took her lumps. And she's a dog and an ultimate competitor. So I think she has a chance to really, really take that next step in her junior year. And we're talking about a player that could have been a freshman last year. Like, skipped a year, came early, and joined South Carolina and carved out a role on a national championship team. So shout out to her. Winning that national championship this year. Also in that front court, though, a more experienced player, 6'3 Sania Feagin, who's a true 5 for this group, who could be the obvious choice to plug in the Camila Cardoso spot, depending on what look and what the matchups are looking like. I can see all three of these players rotating at both of those positions, potentially, depending on what the matchup is. But Feagin, athletic, the most physical out of the three, a very skilled back to the basket, maybe the best low post scorer of the group. She's experienced. She's been around this program for some years. She's also shown the ability to be able to bother some shots and anchor that paint defensively, block shots. She's mobile, gets up and down the court. She has a nice skill set. She can handle the ball a little bit. She's shown that she can also be a willing passer out of the post as well, and an effective passer. They could maybe throw her in the mix to replace Camila Cardoso. Similar, you know what I'm saying, build. Cardoso obviously a few inches taller, but Feagin's still a monster on that glass and bringing some big size, man. She's a specimen at 6'3", you know what I'm saying? She's solid build. You're not going to bully her in the paint. This season, Feagin saw the most playing time she has since she's been at South Carolina, ramping up her PT to 15.1 minutes per game. She averaged 6.7 points, 3.8 rebounds, and an assist, shooting 55% from the field. And I mean, if you want to see steady progression from a player. That's what you're looking for. Steady progression. And that's what we're seeing from Feagin. She proved that she could be, she started some games. She proved that she could be that reliable low block scorer and defensive anchor when they counted on her. I think she can handle more responsibility in the paint, and they may depend on her size. She's one of the biggest players returning just from size and stature standpoint, and I love her soft touch, her skill set. Back to the basket, you can throw it down low, and Feagin can get you a bucket. So I'm excited to see her development in year 4 with this program and what she could potentially do. We know Dawn Staley likes to give her seniors minutes, man. She understands the culture. She understands the winning, what it takes, the pedigree, and the expectations that Dawn Staley has for her post players. So Feagin definitely a name to watch. In the backcourt, I know we mentioned Fulwiley, a freshman, but holy Tessa Johnson. She was the breakout star in the postseason for this group. Of course, Malaysia Fulwiley took the SEC tournament MVP, but in the NCAA tournament, Tessa Johnson really turned it up, man. Just with her shooting ability and her defensive versatility, being able to guard the 1 through the 4, really, because they had her matched up on some power forwards even. Just her strength, her length, and her ability to just be athletic and be able to just read plays before they happen and anticipate on the defensive side. You got that 3-and-D type of player, they're gonna see minutes, man. She was one of the most unheralded freshmen out of this group, man, when you were talking about Kitts coming in as well as Fulwiley, but she really carved out a role off that bench and provided a spark and got more confident throughout every game. Johnson, the 6'1" freshman out of Minnesota, averaged 6.6 points per game, 1.7 rebound, 1.1 assists, shooting 44.7% from the field. But she was also one of the top 3-point shooters on this team, shooting 43.2% a clip. She played in 35 games and just like I said, got more and more confident. She's another player that's just scratching the surface. We saw her be able to play either guard spot. You know, she's effective in the pick and roll. She can play make, she can create. And I think Dawn Staley's going to give her a chance to expand her game as well, man. And it may be a year before, we see really Tessa Johnson and Fulwiley get the keys and really fully flourish. But I think this next step, sophomore year, I'm expecting both to take a leap. I think it's up in the air who will take the biggest leap. I'm betting on Fulwiley, but Tessa Johnson is definitely not a player that you can sleep on, man. I think she showed big upside, and really, you got to respect her range. She will let that thing fly, and her ability to really stretch the floor and shoot the 3, but also, like I said, bring that 6'1" frame, that versatility on defense, that toughness, the ability to take a charge or be effective on the glass. Guard inside, guard outside. I mean, she's just another weapon at the disposal of Dawn Staley. Rounding out our list, last, certainly not least, one incoming freshman, the number 2 player in the nation. I would say she's the number 1 player in the nation. Joyce Edwards, maybe the most versatile player on this roster this year. Coming in 6'3", can play the 1 through 5, can guard the 1 through 5, can go coast to coast, can play make, has great court vision, can shoot the basketball, gets unlimited paint touches, can take contact, can Euro step by you, has that shiftiness, that twitch to her game. She's physical. She's a monster competitor. She's a dog, man. She's elite on the glass. And I think she gives them a big wing that can play inside and out, provide versatility, provide a big spark off the bench. We saw what the 2 freshmen did this season. Edwards could have a similar impact to this group and maybe could find herself in the starting lineup at some point. Because, I mean, she is that good. She's got the upside to be the best player to ever come through these gates, not named Asia Wilson. Maybe she is the next player to get a statue out of South Carolina if it's not Aaliyah Boston. But Joyce Edwards is the real deal. She's had the best run through all the postseason games. Nike Hoop Summit, Jordan Brand, McDonald's All-American, taking MVPs out the wazoo, man. I think she's special and she has a chance to be the top freshman. I know there's not many freshmen that win Freshman of the Year under Dawn Staley. Like, that's not a thing that happens often. I think Edwards has that potential, man. She will have a chance to earn minutes early and make an immediate impact. I mean, unlimited potential, tireless motor. She doesn't need the basketball to impact games, and that's really what I like about her. She's going to make plays if she's on the floor, no matter if she's got the basketball or not. So I'm very excited, man. But those are just some breakout candidates that I think we could see make a bigger impact than they did last year. I know some of them are some household names and won't be a surprise. But Edwards rounding out the list, man. I think the freshman is the goods, and it may just be too tough for Dawn Staley to keep her off the floor, man. And how about Coach Dawn Staley out here living her best life at the Plies concert, man? I mean, they earned it. She's been out here in Paris, meeting up with Travis Scott, been at all the WNBA or the NBA playoff games, just was in South Carolina watching Asia Wilson's return. The Aces took on the Puerto Rican national team. The new signature shoe, the A1 is coming out, she mentioned. Like, Dawn Staley's everywhere. She's earned it. She's become the face of women's college basketball, one of the faces for sure. She's carrying the game, carrying the torch to new levels. South Carolina is in a really good position to repeat as champions this upcoming season. I mean, replacing 5 starters, y'all? What the heck? That is insane. 5 WNBA draft picks replaced, and they got better. They go undefeated, win the championship again 2 out of the last 3 years, and then they could be even better this upcoming season. It is insane, bro. And I know I talked about the front court. I don't want to leave out Adele Tack. Like, there's so much talent here. I get it. And I know the Gamecocks fans are super passionate, and I respect y'all for that. Got a lot of love for y'all. So I appreciate everybody tuning in. We're going to drop more videos. This is just part 1. We're going to drop more videos on potential impact players. I think LSU will probably be the next one. So y'all make sure to tune in and lock in and stay up to date and subscribe for all the latest and the greatest. That's a wrap for us. I'm Brandon Blakeney, a.k.a. Brandon Lee TV. Until next time, hey, we out.